Hey, hello again. So today a video to talk about my impressions after riding 1000 kilometers with the Cube Stereo Hybrid 140 HPC SL 62529 and some fit and finish issues I had from the beginning, some that came up later, and to give my general impression of this e-mountain bike. So let's start from the top. The bike came fitted with these three things in the wrong order. I had to dismount all of them and place them in a way that made sense. So this is the dropper seat post controller, the brake lever, and the thumb drive. The thumb drive was placed on the other side, and I had to reach to operate it. So I had to do that myself. As you can see, the lever cable for the dropper seat is extremely long. I don't know why the factory supplied such a long cable and why the bike shop did not cut it and put it and fit it to the proper size. So I'll have to have that done next time I put the bike at the for maintenance. The kiosk is mounted with the acid mount on the next to the head tube, which is great. It's the proper location for it. I've had my issues with the kiosk communicating with the eBike Connect app, communicating with the web server and the feedback towards the eBike Connect app. I contacted Bosch. They solved the issue and now it seems to be working fine. Apparently they had to increase the server capacity. Of course, this has nothing to do with the bike itself, but since the bike is equipped with the Bosch kiosks, then I thought about talking about it. When I placed the toe peak phone holder, I started to having cracking noises from this head tube area here, so I had to unscrew these screws and this one again. Then I started by screwing this one, not too tight, and then I proceeded to screwing these two bolts, and the cracking stopped. It seems to be working fine. On this side, I've had no issues. The brakes and the are great. The SLX lever is great, very light and good touch operation. So let me come down here. I've had no issues with the suspension, although I have got some other brand spacers. I'm not sure if there are any spacers inside this tube, because the manufacturer's website is not clear for this specific model of Fox suspension. So I suppose there is one or two, because I can never bottom out even when I'm riding hard. But the shop initially told me that there were no spacers in there. So I'll have to have this open next time, do it by a professional, and have them check if there are any spacers and remove whichever are not necessary, because I like the full travel of the fork to be available. I like a plush suspension. Some fit and finish. As you can see, there's some space here between the frame and the cover of the battery, and this space is allowing some water to go in when I'm riding. Then it flows down the inside, and also when I'm washing. The fit could be a little bit better because this is rubber. I just guess that if the button here to prop it open was a little bit tighter, that this would be better sealed. With that, I have some, as you can see, this is the battery. I have removed it. You see there's some dust and sand that crawls inside and goes to the bottom. Let me see if I can open it with my right hand. Here we go. As you can see, the inside is showing traces of water running in, and then the bottom is also quite dirty, full of sand. So these are the electrical contacts. Not ideal to have all this situation around it, and something that you'd have to be cleaning and maintaining. Or they will have to adjust this screw here, which I will ask to do next time I go to the shop. All right, then in this location I had a lock ring to come loose. It says it needs to be torqued between 25 and 30 Newton meters. I wonder if it was done because soon into the ride this chain ring came loose, or actually the lock ring came loose. Then the chain ring started wobbling and it broke, sheared off the chain guide that sits behind, not in front but on the other side. I can't put it back now, I removed it. You can see the holes there. And this chain guide is made of plastic, so you see it broke there. And it's supposed to hold the chain in place. And now it's lying somewhere in Mother Nature, unfortunately. So I'll have to have that looked into. And I don't have any tool, and the shop, because of the current situation, has been closed. I tried to knock this with a flathead screwdriver and a hammer to close it locked, and on every ride it comes loose again. So it's something I have to do constantly. While I was cleaning the bike, I also noticed that they have installed the chain in the wrong direction. As you can see, the arrow is pointing rearwards. It's supposed to be pointing in the other direction. Here, the chain, when it's in the lower gear, which is 12-speed cassette, 10 tooth for the lower gear, it's very small gear, very small ring there. Then the chain rubs here, and it has removed some of the parts over here. Overall, I feel there's quite a bit of drag in the system in the back. I don't know if it's because of the derailleur, I don't know if it's because of the cassette, but overall there's quite a bit of drag in there. I can feel it. It's not as loose as some other bikes I've had in the past. This thing is a little bit flimsy. I had to remove this plate here and make it flat because it was a little bit bent. I might have touched something. I already took it to the bike shop before the situation, and they had tried to put it in the right direction, so maybe that's causing some of the drag. I've had some air coming out of the rear tire. Every 2-3 days I need to pump some air back. I'm using tubes, so I don't know if it's maybe a problem with the valve or there's somewhere a little micro puncture I have to look into. I've had no issues with the shocks. The rear suspension is working fine. The screws never came loose. Nothing rattles. On the dropper seat, it is functioning properly, but when I sit in it now, I can feel that it goes down maybe a couple of millimeters. It's like sagging when I sit on it, but nothing too serious. I can live with that. It feels a little bit like it's a dropper seat with a little bit of suspension. Then coming to this side, I had the brake disc starting to rub onto the brake pads, so I had to realign the whole thing by unscrewing these two screws, then putting it. What I did was I broke, then it puts it in the right position, and I screw it back. Okay, so that's solved. A little bit of problem there. Oh yeah. Apparently I'm now part of a Bosch Owners Club where the badge falls off. It was glued, simply glued here, and one bright day it was just loose, came loose. As you can see, it's just glue around there. Yeah. One other thing that for the moment I have not had serious problems with, but you can see does not protect 100%, is this flimsy plastic cover. As you can see, it wobbles. So I have seen other bikes with a rubber, I think you call it a gasket or kind of a rubber cover that really fits, and then you can push it inside and nothing gets in there. Well, in this case it's a hard plastic, and as you can see it's a little bit wobbly, so when you close it, make sure that it's really inside, you don't lose it, and the fit is not 100%, unfortunately. All right, so let me see. Let's go up. I've spoken about the fork. Besides the doubt about the spacers, there's no other issue there, and the front brakes have been very good, but when I brake with a certain intensity, not the minimum and not the maximum, but average to high, medium high, there's a vibration. So it does not brake smoothly, it goes and I can feel the whole thing vibrating. I don't know if it's a matter of cleaning the brakes or if something else, but yeah, I've had that issue. All right, so that's most of what I had to say about this e-mountain bike. I'm looking forward to riding it 1,000 kilometers more and 1,000 after that. I really like it. These are small problems that don't bother me too much. And I would like to go on a small rant to finish the video, which is we really looking forward to getting rid of the derailleur cassette chain system. I spent 1 hour today getting all the mud mixed with the chain oil from in here. I've been using now a Shimano chain oil, and it really accumulates everything, and then it becomes like a sandpaper between the rings, and it wears everything out, and then you have to clean everything after a while. It's not the first time that I had to clean this whole drivetrain. It's a pain in the neck because the spaces here have become much smaller than previously, so in some of these locations I couldn't get my cleaning tool. The brushes would not do the deal. I had to get 4 or 5 toothpicks and really push all the stuff out of there. I'm really looking forward to a system with a Gates carbon belt and perhaps combined with a roll-off or with a Vario geared hub. I know it increases the unsprung weight of the bike, so I looked into a pinion system, but then they have to place the motor back here, and again you have the same unsprung weight problem. Not great for a mountain bike. So I guess for a mountain bike this is the, let's say, less bad system, although you have to clean it frequently. But I'm looking for a touring bike, getting rid of this derailleur chain cassette. I hate it. I really am fed up with cleaning it. All right, rant finished. Something to think about, and overall great bike to have with the small issues, but nothing that cannot be fixed and fit. And if you guys are considering this bike, I highly recommend it. It is one great e-mountain bike. Cheers.